What's up, YouTube? This is going to be the first week. This is going to be a recap of the first week of my email account. Right, I finally got a funded account. Let's just say the first week wasn't the best, but I would not let this affect my next week and my upcoming trades. Right. So let's get into it. In total, I took this was just a backtesting trade. In total, I took 4 trades across 3 days. Right. I risked 1%, sorry, 1%, then 0.5% on the first day, then 0.5% on the second day, then 0.5 on the third day. I ended up losing all of the trades. Not exactly my best trades, but they, like, most of them did end up playing out. But my entry and my stop loss getting big, that just fucked me up, right? So let's get into it. The first trade I took, it was kind of expected that I would rush an entry because it was my first day on the eval account, right? So I was hoping, no, I wasn't hoping, but I already predicted that I might force an entry because I was just too excited to trade, right? And that's not the type of mindset you should come into the markets with. So let's get into it. The first trade I took was risking 1%, and then I scaled in, was risking 0.5% again. So in total, this was a 1.5%. I risked 1.5% on this trade. Let's show you guys what really happened, right? So as you can see, right, it was a pretty, I would say it was a good setup. Mind you, this trade did end up playing out after stopping me out. This trade ended up playing out, not exactly hitting my TP, but it was like close to it. I wasn't on the charts, unfortunately. I was not thinking about re-entering in any sort of way because I already took 2 losses, 1.5% down on the first day. That wasn't really that good, so I wasn't really looking for re-entering in any sort of way, right? This trade, I think it swept this sell side level, then reversed back up, whatever. So basically we had an Asian range, right? Asian high, Asian low. We had this sell side level, this sell side level, and this 15-minute BC right here. What happened was during the London session, right? The London made a high, sweeping Asian high, right? So I expected this to be the high of the day, but it wasn't. It got swept later on, and that was sort of expected because this high was not made during the kill zone, right? It was a little bit after the kill zone, so it was kind of expected that it might not be the high of the day. Also, look at this bit. Edit. Yeah. Um, okay. So this mitigation block, this right here, this was a mitigation block, right? Um, we made a lower high, lower low, lower high, and then made a higher lows, and then made a higher high. So we got a retracement back into it, then went ahead tapping into the standard deviation level of this mitigation block right here. That is the standard deviation level from this level to this level, right? This got respected, also sweeping Asian high. So I thought that this was going to be at the high of the day, and I potentially could like enter short, and it would play out going sweeping Asian low. Sorry. We got a 5-minute chain strip delivery, right? This I wouldn't really say was valid because the pullback was not really that significant for it to be a valid chain strip delivery. We had a 15-minute BPR right here too. What I could have done better was that I could have entered on the 15-minute BPR, placed my stop loss a little bit above this high, or like above the mean threshold of the standard deviation level right here, and then target Asian low. So that's not what I did, and ended up getting stopped out, then went ahead and like came close to my RTP. Also, we had these equal highs resting above, so there was a possibility that we might go up and sweep these highs. Also, I think this shaded area right here was another premium array, I guess, and also we were in the daily CB, so I sort of expected us to go down from here, especially after taking Asian high And the one thing that was missing, I would say, is an SMT. If we had a high time frame SMT, or even if we had a SMT right here, it would have been a better setup. Not the best though, because even if we had a SMT right here, the SMT would have done this thing, which was to get a retracement and then go back up, right? So the final verdict of this trade is that I could have waited for a retrace to the 15-minute BPR and entered out off of that, and placed my stop loss above the previous high, or like above this mitigation block, standard deviation projection, and target Asian low, right? So that's what I could have done better. So let's take a look at the journal. Should have traded us. So basically we had no news, right? I think it was Monday or Tuesday. Let's see. Yes, I guess it was Monday. Yes, it was Monday. We had no news, right? I traded a no news Monday, which I shouldn't have. The price action was sort of okay, not the best, but it was okay. The London high was not indeed the high of the day, right? Standard deviation level was reached once, then price came past the OT of the leg that reached the standard deviation level, then continued towards it again, right? So why I lost the trade was considered a 5-minute change to delivery that was not really valid. I should have waited for a clear change of delivery. Setup was indeed decent, not the best though, because there was no high SMT, high time frame SMT, or any sort of SMT at the highest, and we had major buy side liquidity resting above. So there was a possibility that we can go and take those equal highs resting above. Should have waited for a 15-minute change to delivery, which would have been clear as day, but just because it was far away and I had to wait, I forced the entry, which was understandable as I already predicted it, but it should not happen for Mount. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I already said, that it was my first day on the eval account. I was very, um, I was in a rush, right? I was forcing trade. I shouldn't have forced the trade, but I did, and I ended up losing around 1.5%. So that was the first trade. As you can see, I pulled up the charts, and this is the trade that I just lost, right? We took London high, and then after that we had a strong, um, then we had strong um, move towards the downside and took the Asian low. Um, yeah. All right, so the second trade I took, risking 0.5% again, lost the trade. It was a decent setup. It was a A plus plus setup, I would say. The only thing missing was internal manipulation, which did happen again, which did happen, stopping me out, and then continue. This trade also continued towards my TP after stopping me out, right? This was a very good setup. Let's go into the journal, right? Honestly, it was a solid setup, just didn't work out. Correct bias, price went flying after respecting the 1 hour BC. I disregarded. There was a 1 hour BC around this area. Wait. Around this area right here, there was a 1 hour BC which I disregarded because I was considering the high time frame, the 4 hour BC, right? So price ended up reaching the 1 hour BC, then had internal manipulation, then continued towards the upside, right? So correct bias, there was a high time frame. Yes, so on the high time frame, on the 4 hour or the daily, we had a market maker buy model in play, right? We tapped into the OTE of 4 hour uptrend range, and a 4 hour BC made a good as bullish SMT with DXY, right? So there was a SMT right here with DXY, and it was a high time frame SMT, and it was pretty good, right? It was a valid and good SMT. We tapped into the 4 hour range, sorry, to the OTE of the 4 hour range, right? 4 hour impulsive move to the upside. Wait, yes, we had this 4 hour uptrend or impulsive move. After that, we came into the OTE of this 4 hour move, which is this right here, this area right here. We had a 4 hour BC. We already swept previous day low and swept sell side, right? Then had a 5-minute change to delivery. It was a valid change to delivery, but I think what price did here was came into the OTE of this range, then continued lower, had internal manipulation, then had change to delivery after closing above this price leg right here, and ended up going towards my TP. So it was a solid ass setup, not gonna lie. The only thing missing was internal manipulation and valid chain step delivery, I would say. This wasn't really this is a valid chain step delivery, I would say, but if we look at the 15-minute, this was just a retrace to the 15-minute range made right here. So for 5-minute change to delivery, 5-minute BPR, entered on the BPR. At this point, I thought I got a very solid entry. I was very happy. Then price started going in my favor towards my TP, and then suddenly dropped and stopped me out, and then continued above towards my TP again. So solid as setup, not gonna lie, but still a few mistakes I did. Um, as soon as we swept suicide and previously low mid SMT, we had a 1-minute, 5-minute valid instant delivery where a 5-minute BPR was also made, and I entered on the 5-minute BPR, right? So it was telling me that now is the time price would reverse back up, which it did not. Learning points is that I considered a 1-minute, 5-minute, 1-minute and 5-minute change to delivery that was valid and obvious, but we then ended up consolidating near the change to delivery after tapping into it. After tapping into the BPR, SMT simply just moved to the next low and did not stand. So SMT was still valid, but it moved to the new low, and then price went flying towards the TP. So why I lost? The session characteristics were really not telling me anything. We were straight up bearish all throughout Asia, London, and New York. None of the session highs were taken by the next session. Did indicate a bit that it was a heavily bearish day. I should have considered a 1-hour BC, which was not part of the 4-hour BC, but this is just below it, which I already showed you guys. The 1-hour BC, the price respected and then continued upwards. Price did respect here. Now I think we go up from here. Very bullish for tomorrow. This was about Friday, right? So this was the second trade I took. Okay, so the final trade I took on the third day also ended up losing risk a bit more than 0.5%. My risk management and calculations were a bit off, so ended up losing around $30. I'm on a $5,000 account, by the way, so I ended up losing close to 0.5 to 0.6% on this trade. It was again a very good setup, but the Friday's manipulation ended up fucking me over. So if you go on the charts, as you can see, I already discussed this in the previous trades recap. We are in a high time frame market maker buy model. We have engineered buy sell liquidity resting above these equal highs, which are a very strong drawn liquidity. We came into the OTE of this 4-hour range, 4-hour impulsive move right here. So we were expecting bullish price action from here. So you might be wondering, why did I take a short then? So if I go on the charts, right? So what ended up happening was Asia session made this range right here: Asian low, Asian high. London ended up taking Asian high, ended up tapping into a 5-minute BPR, a bearish BPR, ended up having internal manipulation. The thing I was why I took this trade is because although we do have equal highs resting above, I was like, we already had so much bullish price action, so we will most probably have some sort of a retracement to internal liquidity or to equilibrium of this range, which was the 15-minute range's equilibrium, and then continue towards these highs, which is the external drawn liquidity. So on the 1-minute, also we had these equal lows resting below, which was again a strong drawn liquidity. We had a 1-hour BC resting here, 1-hour BC again, 15-minute range equilibrium, which is this range, by the way. So 5-minute BPR, internal manipulation, 1-minute change of delivery, tap back into the 1-minute change of delivery, respecting this SEBI, not closing above it. This is where I took my entry. It was a pretty solid entry, not gonna lie, but price ended up going into my favor. I was like very happy. Price was flying towards my TP, and one thing I considered was, even if this is an accumulation manipulation distribution, the standard deviation levels from the manipulation low to the accumulation lows, it was around here, right? So I still had my TP above it. This I assumed would act as a resistance level, so Having my stop above the standard deviation level was still a smart move, and even if we came above, respected it, I would expect us to go back again down, go down back again, right? So right here is where I was like, okay, we are most probably going to respect the standard deviation level and go back down again. But this is where the magic happened. Friday's manipulation really had a toll on me. We ended up flying to my stop loss, ended up flying to my stop loss. I got stopped, right? And after that, we took these equal highs and then ended up. Then ended up going like, look at this, bro. Like, look at this. Friday's manipulation was wild. It was like really wild. Ended up stopping me out, tapped in, sorry, swept this liquidity, stopped me out, and then went flying towards the 1 hour busy and equal lows that I already had mapped out, right? Already had on my chart, labeled on my chart. So this is how I lost my first trade. It was just devastating. We're not gonna lie. So after that, um, after we swept these equal lows, we made an SMT right here with DXY. Again, we had another sort of forming, right? Another sort of forming. Had internal manipulation right here. Formed in SMT right here. Internal manipulation, SMT equal low swept. Then had a valid change to delivery, tapped back into the change to delivery and the 5-minute BPR, and this is uh like this is where I was looking to take a long position, right? I was thinking of going long, but the only reason I did not was because we had Asian lows resting below, and I wanted us to sweep the Asian lows, or maybe like have a bullish SMT of some sort associated with the Asian low, because this is still a drawn liquidity, right? Asian session low is a strong drawn liquidity, so I was hoping that maybe we could take Asian low, then form a bullish setup, and then I could enter again. So that's not what happened. We had this setup forming, and this ended up playing perfectly, right? This ended up playing perfectly. Although we did not sweep the equal highs resting above, we still ended up playing out perfectly. Um, it's, it was a pretty slow trade, but yep, ended up playing out, and this is like where market closed, right? So all in all, um, if I was in this trade, and if I was in this trade, right? If I was in this trade after seeing this SMT form, I would have closed. I would have moved my stop to break even. Even though market was about to close, I would have moved my stops because I am allowed to hold trade over the weekends, right? So I would have moved my stops to break even and taken like a lot of partials around this area. So fortunately or unfortunately, I wasn't in this trade, but it did end up playing out. So all in all, three got like lost four, had four losing trades, down about 130 something. Wait, let me show you. So down around let's like around I guess 130, down around $130, right? So yeah, these were the trades. This week was not really the best week, but I won't let this affect how my trading goes moving on to the next week, right? So thank you for watching. I know it was a long video, probably not the best commentary, but I hope you get the idea of and I hope you learned something out of this trade. Thank you for watching.